What's going on, guys? It's Brandon here from Brandon B Productions, or as you guys are watching right now, the Brandon B Behind the Scenes channel. Today I'm going to be doing a commentary on Voorhees, a slasher story fan film, which I did a couple years back. Today I am joined with editor slash producer Bryce Cherney. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm here to help Brandon in another commentary. As he said, I was an editor slash kind of producer. I mainly kind of helped with. I mainly helped him put a lot of the music together for this one, I believe.
Yes.
And of course, I kind of overviewed, kind of like looked over, was like a watchful eye in his editing
Yeah.
as you went through this movie.
Yeah, we were both kind of editing projects simultaneously, and we offered a bunch of insight to each other in regards to those projects, and well, here we are today. So quick little history of how this film came about. So you guys know I originally did Hero of New York, the Spider-Man fan film, which is like my first time picking up a camera and actually starting something and then finishing the
Mm-hmm.
project. So after that I had wanted to practice a little bit more. I did some short film stuff, some little comedy skits, just little short videos messing around. But I was like, I think it's time I actually sit down and do something else. It's time I actually start another adaptation and finish it like I did with Spider-Man, but show kind of how I've improved a little bit over the years. And this is what I ultimately settled on. And originally, this wasn't gonna be what it was. It originally started off as this goes all the way back to when Pokemon Go was a big thing, was a big craze that was kind of sweeping the nation.
I
My cousin
remember.
Sergio and I were like, you know what, we're gonna do a little short skit in relation to the whole Pokemon Go thing, and the idea somehow involved the Pokemon player looking for a Pokemon in the woods and then being murdered by Jason. And by the time we had gotten the costumes and stuff together and looked over the idea, we were like, idea's not as good as we thought. So we were going to rewrite some stuff, but we ultimately decided at the time this Pokemon Go craze is, already starting to wean its way out. So, why beat the dead horse? It wouldn't even be jumping on the bandwagon at that point. So we scrapped that. But I really liked the look of the Jason costume we made. It was very reminiscent of the Freddy vs. Jason design, as well as the one from Mortal Kombat X and the Funko Pop. So
Mm-hmm.
we kept it, and I always kind of kept the idea of a Jason film in the back of my head. So I'd kind of written like a little short slasher project about two kids who would be shooting a documentary and get killed. And then ultimately, I was playing the video game a lot, the Friday the 13th video game, and I was playing with Lewis, who was also in this film. And we just played it and 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 played it. And we were like, you know what, man? We should do a little like short Friday the 13th film. Like, we should actually do something. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm game. Let's do it. Toss some ideas back and forth. As we played the game, we'd say, yo, what about this? What if we take this and put it in the film? What if we kind of take this line and put it in the film? And you can very much see that in this film. This film is very much a love letter to that game. So we did a lot of that. When it came to casting Jason, I knew my brother was the perfect one for it. Growing up, he was, really big into these horror movies, and when I was growing up, he was really big into them. I remember he would just sit down for hours and hours at a time, just binging all of the horror franchises, specifically Friday the 13th. He was Jason a couple times for Halloween. And I saw that he was like, he would always get really into it when he was Jason. Like, I would dress up as Spider-Man or someone, he would dress up as Jason. We'd do little fights and stuff. So I was like, he really uh, likes being Jason, and he clearly is a fan. So, who better than the cast but him? And he was super stoked to do it. And he's got the right body type for Jason, kind of big and stocky, and he's got the shoulders, and he's got the Jason, like, slow but strong walk. And overall,
Mm-hmm.
I just felt he was a great choice for Jason, and he was more than
Yeah.
thrilled to do it. And we really put him through a lot to get this film done. But yeah, that's basically how the film came about, and that's Bryce's involvement with it. So, without further ado, let's Let's peel back the layers of this onion.
Get into this.
3,
All right.
2,
3,
1.
2, 1.
Go. So of course I had to put the disclaimer, you know, of copyright. And yes, I'm painfully aware of this digression. It was fixed in the Noir re-release as well as the other 2 slasher movies that came out. So here's just kind of some establishing shots of where everything's going to go down. The voiceover is done by my grandmother, who I figured could play the whole Pamela Voorhees thing. Oh, fun fact, these cabins are built by my grandfather. And I didn't know that until
I
we
remember
finished.
telling me that.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until the film was finished, which was really cool. My mom was like, yeah, my dad built those cabins. And I was like, what? This kind of shot, this panning shot, is actually where we shot the Myers opening, not the Voorhees stuff, which is kind of interesting. So this is my dad. He had just gotten off of work, and I was like, hey, we need someone to die real quick. And he was like, yeah, I'll go in the water. You can actually see Jason and my grandmother at the end of the dock.
Yeah, I see that.
They wanted to get some behind-the-scenes stuff, and they show up there, unfortunately. But they're gone in that shot. One regret is I kind of wish I gave him headphones or a boom box or something to show where the music was coming from. But
that was very cool.
You know, you live
I
and you
just
learn.
ripped him into the water.
Yeah, which is ripped right from the Friday the 13th game. That's how a lot of the matches start, and we were very much, you know, intending on keeping that.
Yeah.
Simple intro. Didn't want to waste a lot of time. So it was about 10 degrees outside when we shot this, and my brother was, you know, nice enough to go in the water to get this shot and keep going in and out and in and out and in and out to get all these different takes and whatnot. But I like how it turned out. We drove like an hour and a half to get that shot. But very happy with how it turned out. And I love this transition over to the graveyard. And now, like, this whole thing, you notice there's, like, some sad music playing in the back, and it's just Jason visiting his mother. I never viewed Jason really as a villain. Like, someone like Freddy, who's just straight up evil and sadistic. Jason's just kind of a, you know, mentally challenged kid who somehow survived his trauma. And, you know, is really just trying to avenge his mother, and, you know, people just always come to his camp and start messing with shit. And I like the idea that he is kind of just always a defense character. Things are, you know...
And this scene definitely mirrors that with like, people coming to the camp.
Yeah.
Ruining his moment right here, kind of.
That shot of him hugging the grave is actually taken from a Friday the 13th tie-in comic.
Nice.
So now this...
Another thing...
This is actually...
Before you go on, another thing I noticed, that Jason was actually, like, full of water, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, we carried around...
Actually,
we carried around 2 buckets of water and dumped them on him in between takes to make sure he was dripping wet. That was a detail I, like, really, really wanted to show that he was still wet from the water. This song is actually His Eyes by Pseudo Echo from Friday the 13th Part 5. It's the scene that Violet is dancing to. And I love that scene. I love the way it's shot. I love the colors of it. I love the song. It's still one of my favorite songs. And I was like, you know what? Why not pay homage to it? Because I think Friday 5 is a very underrated movie. Criminally underrated. And definitely deserves some more attention. Positive attention. And I was actually going to do a Voorhees sequel that was heavily inspired by that movie. But, you know, things happen. So both Lewis and I have shorter hair in this shot than we do in the next one. You'll see in the next one his hair is a little bit longer, and so is mine. We both got haircuts when we shot this scene. So, yeah, kind of continuity. I love that transition of the door slamming with his head turning.
Yeah. Very, very cool transition.
And, of course, the voice in his head is, once again, taken from both the movie and the games. Or the movies and the game. That stupid rubber cowl or hood, whatever you want to call it. so bad.
It's a little distracting.
Yeah. So yeah, you
But
can
not
see
too
the
bad.
hair continuity here. My hair is a little long
Yeah,
still.
yeah.
So is his.
Yeah.
That tripod was originally not supposed to show up, but it does. So what are we gonna do? So these characters are basically just exaggerated personalities of mine. That is the camera we shot Hero of New York on, by the way. So you kind of have like the metalhead, like, you know, filmmaker guy who's directing everything and wants the shot to be perfect, but you also have the like nerdy, very skeptical, anxious guy. So they're just two personalities of mine exaggerated for characters. Pink Floyd shirt to kind of, which I actually had bought in for Quicksilver cosplay, and it worked really well here. In this shot, you can see Jason doesn't have his rubber cowl on.
Oh shit, yeah.
Which debatably might have looked better if we left it off the whole movie, but I mean, I really wanted him to have some kind of cowl, and I didn't know that the one that I had ordered was going to be that bad of quality, and it was so hard for him to breathe in it. This shot is a homage to part 6 when he kills the paintballers in the woods. So you can tell this whole thing is basically just homages to the game and to different movies, which is really what I wanted it to do. You can see some joggers in the background of some of these shots. You can see some cars passing, which do kind of take you out of the scene, but you know, what are you gonna do? I love the Jason creeping in with like the heartbeat to it.
The
just kind of
heartbeat,
adds.
yeah, the heartbeat is really cool.
Yeah.
I really like that effect.
Just kind of adds to like the fear and anxiety that he would be feeling in this scene. So this, him knocking Jason down and hitting him with the bat, and even what he says is all taken from the game. Once again, we wanted to include a lot of that in there.
Like the bad bro.
Yeah, which all happens in the game too. For those of you who play the game, you know what I'm talking about. You can see my grandmother.
I haven't played the game, but I've seen a couple gameplays on it, and I have seen you playing it a couple times. So
yeah,
I mean, I kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So once again, Hero of New York camera, and I like to think that he knows he's gonna die.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he's just kind of grabbing the
He's
camera.
done for.
Yeah, and so he's grabbing the camera, saying like, if you listen to this, Jason's real, and you know he filmed me dying and shit. So I think he knows that he's gonna die, and he's just leaving evidence. But I love this shot of him like scooting past the camera, and Jason walks over and kills him. And obviously these deaths aren't great in retrospect, but you know, you live and you learn. This whole thing was a learning curve for me, and it was just fun to shoot. We got to tell a story in the Friday the 13th universe, and that was really all we were trying to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Love the color grading on this too. It's so good. Sets
Color grading definitely is. We took our time.
We really did. I love how dead I look in this shot. So anybody who ever wanted to see me die, all you have to do is refer back to this film, and there you go.
Yep. There's Lewis.
And
There's
bam,
Mofo.
the Freddy Claw. Which, at the time of shooting this, we didn't even intend to do a whole slasher trilogy, slasher universe. The idea was just, let's shoot a Jason film, and if I could somehow get a realistic-looking Freddy costume together, we'll shoot a Freddy, like Freddy versus Jason kind of thing. And then from there, I was like, you know what? We can do a Michael Myers film and a Ghostface film, but I'll kind of save that for those commentaries.
Yeah, of course.
Here's some of the credits, music, and stuff. So here's a little fun fact for those of you who play the game and who watch the movies and stuff. My character and his character, besides being exaggerated personalities of my own, they're heavily inspired off of the characters that Lewis and I main in the Friday the 13th game. I main AJ Mason, and that's why my character's called Mason. That's why Lewis goes, Mason, Mason, behind you. And his character is Kim. We never actually say it in this film. We say it in the 4th slasher film. But, yeah, his character is based off of Deborah Kim, which is his main in the game. Which his being the nerd and mine being, like, the gothy rocker chick. So we wanted to kind of capture that in this.
Very cool.
Yeah. So just huge love letter to the game. We took some stuff, even some audio from the game, as it's listed here. Once again, special thanks to all the fans who watch us, to the cast and crew and their families for letting them film. Jesus and God, of course. The homie Christ Bernie. And Puis Lenya. Nah.
Puis Lenya.
Yeah, got to give the special thanks to them for all the work that they've done. And thank you to all you guys who watch and give us your time. There's a million things you could be doing, and you give us, the time of day. That's amazing. And, of course, big shout out to the haters, because, where would we be without you guys either? We wouldn't be anywhere. So, yeah, closing thoughts. I'm aware of a lot of the issues that are in this movie. By no means is this like a perfect film or some sort of revolutionary film, but we had fun filming it, and like I said, it was a learning curve. I learned a lot from this film, and I had so much fun making it. We all did. We all had a blast. A couple issues that people had were like, why is Jason in the water? He's not supposed to be in the water. And I think that's less of an issue on my part, and more of the movies not really being able to stick straight with their continuity, because they kind of dance around a lot. Like, oh, here Jason is cool with the water, and in Jason Takes Manhattan, he spends like 80% of the film in the water and survives the water in part 6 and part 7. But when it comes to Freddy vs. Jason, they add this like, he's scared of the water. And yeah, that's kind of where that whole thing came from. The reboot, I don't think he's scared of water in that one either.
No, because I'm pretty sure he jumps straight out of the water when they tip him in the end.
Yeah, he does. So it's clear like I said, it's clear the continuity in the actual movies isn't 100% solid. And Freddy vs. Jason did kind of ignore the events of a bunch of different movies and only took some things into its canon.
I'm pretty sure it's in its own mythos, right?
Yeah, I think it is, because only the first 3 movies take place, of the first 3 Nightmare on Elm Street movies take place in that timeline. Another thing that people have complained about is character development, but I mean, it's a 10-minute short film, and there's really not much you can do in 10 minutes. And we established what they were trying to do, and I think that's really all that needed to be told about them. The whole film is supposed to focus on Jason. That's why it's called Voorhees, and why it's called Myers and Ghostface, not, Friday the 13th fan film. It's mainly meant to focus on the killers, because watching these movies, I'm always like, I don't care about this cast of killables. It's not what I'm showing up for. I'm showing up for the killer, and I'm showing up for why is the killer killing, and that's kind of what I wanted to tell with these stories. So, that's kind of my answer to that. And the other one is the obvious latex hood, which I 100% agree with. It is definitely distracting in the film. Bryce, you want to add some closing thoughts?
All right. I'll keep mine a little brief. So I worked on this film about like 2 or 3 years ago. And some things I always really liked about it was the idea of like every good moment in this kind of being, or like sincere moment, I guess you could say, kind of being ruined by the elements of humans coming in. And it was really cool because it was shown through the audio of it cutting off with the loud music playing over it after, which I thought was really cool, because then it also symbolized how Jason doesn't like people on his turf, and we see kind of why. They ruined his moment.
Yeah. He
was having a tender moment. So another thing I really liked was you did a very different thing with the cinematography in this, which was you actually used what's it called, found footage with your with the actual cinematography.
Yeah.
which I thought was a really cool way of doing it because it's also a way you connect it with the video game of the. I don't know if the video game is in first perspective, but
Somewhat, yeah.
I mean, so I mean, it's kind of like that kind of feel, which I thought was really cool.
Thanks. Um, yeah, overall, I like the inclusion of the found footage style. We originally were gonna do an like just found footage style movie,
Hmm.
but ultimately I was like, there's too many shots that I want to get that couldn't work as a found footage movie, so that's why I just kind of splice some found footage stuff into it. And
Yeah.
I remember directing that. I told Lewis like, shake the camera a little bit, make it look more like a found footage. Nervous guy is holding the camera. Don't just hold it completely still. And that's why we didn't use a tripod. And you could see we actually did have a tripod. If you go back to that scene, you can actually see a tripod
Hmm.
in the background. And we decided not to use it for that reason specifically. Um, quick note that I do want to add is there was a YouTube channel that I watched before making this film. He's called Psycho Films. He basically does a whole bunch of Friday the 13th related content. He takes generic like cheap $2 hockey masks and he sands them down and paints them and mods the hell out of them, cuts them up to make them look like
Hmm.
good quality replica masks. And I remember watching his videos in preparation for this. He also did a Friday the 13th fan film, and he has some like let's plays and stuff on there. And I was a subscriber of his for a while, and it was really cool to see that he not only commented on the video but actually really enjoyed the film and kind of what we did. So that was really cool. I was like, this I've been following this guy for quite a while, and he checked this out and really liked it. So that was really cool, guys. Definitely check him out, man. If you're watching this, thank you so much for giving my film the time of day, and keep making your content, bro. It's so good. Um, so yeah, with that being said, be sure to go check out the actual film without our blabbering
Of
on the main
course.
channel. Um, drop a like if you liked it. Drop a dislike if you
Hmm.
don't like it. Keep it real.
Also, go check out the noir version of this.
Yeah,
It is
guys,
a little
check that
more
out.
grittier side with the visual effects.
Yeah, for sure.
You know how black and white films are.
Yeah, just a little fun re-release that we did. So definitely check that out. Um, go ahead and check out Bryce Cherney's channel, guys. He does some great stuff, and
Hmm.
if you like my content, you're definitely gonna like his content. You want to plug yourself real quick?
Yeah. So I don't do much on my channel anymore, but of course I have my short. I make short films. I work on uh, props. I also work on suits too. So that's kind of all my channel's really about. So yeah, that's kind of if you like what Brandon does, you're definitely gonna like what I done or what I do. So
He's got a couple tutorials
definitely,
on there as well.
yeah, I got a couple of tutorials. So definitely give it a look and subscribe because that subscribe
I've done some
button will be
commentaries
waiting for
with him.
everybody.
I've done some commentaries with him
Yeah.
on that
He
channel.
also has
So
commentaries with me on my channel too, if you want to go check those out.
if you like hearing us
So that's
talk,
my that's my shameless plug
so
for
there's
this
your plug on the
commentary.
video. So with that being said, we're gonna sign on out of here. So go ahead and check out Bryce Cherney, check out the original video, check out the Noir re-release, and we will see you guys in the next commentary. This won't be the last commentary on Voorhees. I also want to do like a cast and crew commentary. This is more of just a writer, director, editor, producer
Hmm.
commentary. See you guys in the next one. In the Myers commentary coming soon. Peace out.
Deuces.